Welcome, everybody. Welcome to BeoTalk 282. Happy New Year.
Oh, yeah, Happy New Year. I guess this is going to be the first year that you're not going to live stream the freaking fireworks on New Year's like it used to be.
Yeah, like I don't have a view, really.
That's right.
I'm on ground level again. It's weird.
That's funny.
Yeah. As per always, like, subscribe, join us on the Discord, buy something off a Skinny Play, use the promo code for 10% off. I'm still way too busy to keep up with Substack and that sort of thing. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, that sort of thing.
That's right. Hope you don't get too drunk tonight.
Or if you do, hopefully you're off tomorrow and you don't have like one of these super important New Year's Day jobs.
Yeah. No, I don't think that you'd be partying hard then.
Well, you may be a surgeon or something, right?
Fair enough. Yeah, if you're on call, sucks to be you. Sucks to be me too, because I'm on call tonight, more or less, in the building. But
so putting fires out, that sort of thing.
Yeah. I'm going out, so whoever's locked out, touche. You're going to spend your New Year's in the lobby of our beautiful building.
Good luck.
You have access to go to the terrace as well, so there it is.
Oh, bring a blanket.
That's it.
Yeah, that's about it. If for whatever reason you hate YouTube, we're also on Twitch. But not sure I'll continue that in the new year.
The Twitch?
Yeah, I may do a Rumble because Twitch doesn't seem to be very audio focused. And it's more, I don't know. Twitch is Twitch and it's weird, right? Like it's very either games or like half naked women that want to skirt the rules.
Oh yeah, no.
And it's not good for our brand, yo.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're not doing that. We're not gonna get caught like Balenciaga.
Twitch has basically become soft porn in the last month or so.
Oh really?
Yeah, like
it went from no nipples to soft porn.
No, it's now to like having these criminal eye bars. Just put that over a nipple, right, and just fully naked, and just go.
So, yeah, I don't have. Thankfully, I don't have time to be on Twitch. So.
Nor do I, but I see it on Twitter every so often. It's like, whatever.
Mm.
Happy New Year. Hope everybody stays alive.
That's it.
And
yeah. And I hope that in the New Year's they're gonna come out with the Lab 8 with grills in walnut. So I guess it's now set in stone that all the bespoke or BeoSpoke stuff is gonna have a 15% premium across the board.
It's better than 30.
Yes, and it's better than having variable premiums on different products like it was with
Well, there's custom and bespoke, right? And it's two different grades.
Yes.
So custom, you can go nuts, and
well, but then like rightfully so that same thing. Like if you were to order an Audi or a Mercedes in a non-standard color, it's gonna cost you more money.
Yeah, like the BMW individual colors, but then you can also say like I want a chrome hue or something in my
yeah. That's
only on the rear half.
So I'm kind of glad that that's been ironed out in a way, and yeah. Other than that, there's going to be price increase coming up. I'm certain in January.
BeoConnect Core is coming.
Yeah, I heard about that. I'm not saying anything, but
it's on the FTC website.
Is it?
Yeah.
Nice. Do you have the link to it? You might as well pull it up.
Beo. It's on the Discord somewhere.
Oh, okay. Sandeep, about time for the price increase. It's gonna be only on, I think, cash and carry stuff. Nothing major. No, I don't think they're gonna increase the Lab 8s for at least like a one increase period.
God, I hope so. That would be so dumb when half the colors aren't even available.
Mm-hmm. But I really think that they are gonna be not looks, but acoustically the death of BeoLab 18.
Yeah.
They are unbelievably good sounding speaker.
But wasn't the whole idea that kind of 17s would do that too, and they didn't?
Yeah, but 17 looked very awkward compared to the Lab 8s, if you think about it. There's a lot of people that, it's the P&O thing, right? Like, some people were in love with Lab 3s, and some people couldn't stand looking at them, especially in white color. They look like freaking eyeballs. So, you can't win with everybody. It's just like art, I guess.
No, but I guess the purchase is slightly non-logical.
Mm-hmm. Well, I had people that had found even BeoLab 18s revolting, right? Because it's just, I don't like these wood grills. It looks weird. All the older speakers were nicer, yada yada. So it is what it is. I'm looking forward to the Core Connect, whatever the heck it is, because it's supposed to finally
connect.
Well, not supposedly. It should finally, hopefully, answer some of my or our prayers as far as what it's supposed to be doing.
Apparently, it has ultra wideband on it, so it's probably a Mozart platform.
It has to be a Mozart platform. I don't see it going any other way. Any other way.
I don't know if you can hear a bunch of ringing in the background, but it's a cat playing with a toy.
No. Okay. I don't know what BLE is. I think Bluetooth something. And then Wi-Fi. I wonder if it's got Wi-Fi, like the 5 gig. Is it for the Wi-Fi as well?
You would almost think so with 2 antennas.
Yeah. Which would make sense if you, let's say, run it in a hardwire mode network. You could use the Wi-Fi.
Would be nice. Bluetooth low energy is BLE.
Okay.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I wonder what the price tag on it is going to be as well.
Probably a lot. It's square.
Okay.
Or roundishly rectangular.
Please God, let it not be cheaper looking than the BeoSound Core already. Like, I hope that they dress it up a little bit with something, man.
I almost hope it has buttons on it.
Or at least if you're not,
and if it has buttons, that you can use it wirelessly to speakers.
Like what? Like Weiss speakers?
Something like that, yeah. Or sort of stereo pair it in, right? Like have it sit between a stereo pair.
Mm-hmm.
Just as a sort of controller or something.
Yeah, because if you stereo pair the Lab 8s and you, let's say, put them on a wall brackets or ceiling brackets, like how the fuck are you going to reach? You know what I mean? Yeah. What's with the step stool in your living room, Joey? Oh, that's how I turn the volume down. Okay. So, yeah, that interface goes completely away.
I mean, I don't expect it to be.
You can have a core. I mean, the Halo for that.
Depending on price, it's either simple plastic buttons if it's cheaper, or it's ridiculously expensive at 1,500 to 1,800 euro, dollar, pound, something like that. If it's like glass and nice, and
I think that that idea would be dictated by how it was purposely designed. Yeah. Which means, was it a hideaway box or was it something to show off? I think it's more or less a hideaway box.
Well, even if it's a hideaway box, it would be nice to have some buttons on it, right? Just for initial setup, that sort of thing.
Well, I hope. Like, the core had 2 buttons. It had a power and settings for reset. Well, power, Wi-Fi reset, and then it had a pinhole for the actual factory nukage.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know.
But yeah, give or take 6 months or less.
Mm-hmm. By the way, I got myself a pair of EXs. They are fucking good headphones, man. I gotta say, I'm very impressed by the performance. The cat's tripping.
Yeah, she just wants to play.
Give her some catnip or something. Calm it down.
Kitty?
So yeah.
So
I
hope this will be something. It's probably March or something, April.
Well, yeah, and then what's the availability again? Because this is gonna be just like the Lab 8 that they're gonna come out with the default silver and then all the other colors come out later. We already got the golden pair. I don't know, man. I've never liked the gold color. I understand that it'll look in certain, scenarios, but I don't dig it. I don't dig it.
Cat is being... It's behind my monitors.
Well, as long as it doesn't unplug anything, we're fine.
Yeah, last time it was there, it decided all of a sudden to shoot forward and spill all my coffee over me.
Nice. That's why I don't have cats, because they're too random with their nonsense, They're crazy. Dog would never go behind your monitor. Maybe a small one, I guess. I don't know. Happy New Year, Ralph. So, yeah. How's the 50s? Or 2 pairs, rather?
It's pretty amazing. It's, for some reason, when I downloaded Plaque client on the LG, it defaulted to the 50s being front, left, right, and then left, right, surround. And I hadn't noticed. And I also didn't miss much of any of the other speakers. Because when I was listening to it, I was sitting right in the spot where everything was tuned for.
Nice.
And it must be something the theater also does with the Atmos and whatever. holy shit, it was good.
Yeah, I'm more and more impressed by the theater, bringing different speakers here and testing them out. I really, the disappointment of the 28s was real, because they do sound better with the theater, of course, than, everything sounds better with the theater type of thing, because the way it does it.
Well, but speaking of the 28, it's not that they ever sound bad, it's that they're so schizo. It's
it's a different sounding speaker, man.
I'm not
That's
disappointed in like that. Like either sound is fine, but pick one and stick to it, sort of.
Well, yeah, because I guess the speaker sounds true to itself in WISA and stereo paired mode, more or less only with like the harmony, and the older TVs that don't do the tuning, where the theater really shaves the bass off of it, which kind of makes sense reasonably, because to me they really sound like a modern version of a Penta when they're stereo paired. They're very boomy. They're very lap 5-ish boomy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's that laziness of the bass, and that's not for me to criticize it. That they're a bad speaker in a sense, but obviously it's kind of snobbish to judge them because I'm coming from the 90s. But I do find the 8s are more accurate in that sense. But then there's a drawback with the 8s that we just recently discovered, that if you do juice them quite a bit, they do start to sway with the bass drivers on the table stands.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not something that like they're gonna walk away on you unless you put it on felt pads. But it's not really noticeable. But when you stand and look at the side, I'm like, that thing is fucking moving.
As in literally.
As in literally moving back and forth. But it doesn't move on our, the little platforms that we have. They're solid freaking granite with like the lights in it or whatever. But yeah, it doesn't move, but it moves. It rocks. Where I think that
it's probably the sort of back clamp thing.
It's part of the suspension, as I would call it, right? Because that wishbone naturally has a flex to it.
Does it make any noise when it does that?
No, it doesn't vibrate. I'm actually surprised that even that the back covers don't have like the thin felt lining, on the edges where the contact points would be. It doesn't. There's no audible rattle coming out of them when they're dancing. But they fucking dance it. But I would have found that out too if I, had them as mine.
I'm almost wondering if it's a quirk and not really something you should care about, because I don't think
it matters anything.
Inaudible, I don't think it matters.
No, it doesn't. It's just like it looks funny. That's all. But at least it gives you, I guess, that physical motion that you kind of look forward to seeing in a speaker when the sound is produced, since the grills are covering the speakers, right? That's right. They don't go sideways. They go back and forth. They do this.
They do this. Working all of a sudden.
They do this to the beat. It's fucking hilarious. I like it. They like your music too. So.
No, was it yesterday and the day before? I had it twice because I forgot about it. That it turned on Plex, and it, for whatever reason, it defaults to like that 50 setup. And I'm sitting right where I tuned it all for.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, damn, this sounds good. Not realizing that literally 7 speakers are off, right? Like, I didn't miss the center channel. I didn't notice it wasn't on. Like, I didn't really miss any of the high channels either. Because my newer couch I think is a bit lower. Maybe it's how I sit on it, but the tweeter is roughly here when I sit on my new couch. So like I guess it still stands. Like over 5.1 there is not all that much gain to be had, but if you do go for height, but I would say if you have 50s, 90s, something like that, get something silly for the rear and a set of height speakers and call it a day.
Exactly. You don't need much more. The way that they do the sound.
I mean, I went crazy because I had the opportunity and it was relatively cheap. But I'm almost thinking like, I didn't count on having another set of 50s in the rear, right? Setting up the house. That was a sort of spur of the moment thing halfway through. And it's almost like, do I really need those 17s at the back of the wall now?
I don't think so.
I mean, they do add some, but it's
very
more
little.
so for when you're out and about, and by that I mean walking and we're not stationary or not perfectly in line with the tuning position.
Well, wait for the core connect, whatever, and repurpose them in another room.
Yeah, I may. Who knows?
You know? And if that thing, I honestly think that if they're coming out with something like that, that it should have an ARC HDMI in it, and it should be a direct competition to Almando.
Yeah,
in my opinion,
for a 2.1 setup, please.
Yeah, it should be something that competes with Almando, because like, it's not that I'm top down on Almando. It's a great product, but I think it fills a
niche that shouldn't be there.
A niche that shouldn't be there. That for B&O specifically, like, you should also consider the fact that people do have, like the old 740s or whatever, they have center channels from these fucking TVs. They already have speakers, right? And you roll in there like a ding dong with a freaking Marantz or a, God forbid, Yamaha, and you try to make it work with the, I do it with the trigger, so they all work. Because if you have a 7-2 or any 7 series, you have to have a trigger because there's no line input on those. So I think that they're missing out hard on the market. They should have something that at least takes the arc off the panel, because you can hook up everything to the panel more or less, and have a sound come out,
These
now we're
Almando
talking
boxes aren't
like
cheap, by the way.
No, they're not. They're $1,200-$1,300 at least to start.
Yeah, I think ex sales tax it's €1,100. So in dollars, it's US dollars. It's at least 10% more.
Yes. So I think that, well, whatever it is, because it's already out there in the FCC, so it's already been done, right? It's like you can't talk about wish I had that child, and wish it was a girl, but it's a boy now. It's just what it is. It's already in the oven. But I really hope that they come up with something that maybe even competes on a level with the multi connectivity of all the cash and carry speakers per se, like the Emerge, that you could use them as a surround. That would be sick. Or even just have them in 2.1, where you could connect, let's say, a subwoofer to 2 levels, which is kind of dumb, but or subwoofer to 2 balances. That's more of a kick-ass system at that point.
Or just a subwoofer to anything, even 8. Right? Because currently with the 19, there's no way to connect a 19 to 8 unless you have a full-on BeoVision.
That's right. Or a BeoSound core with the fucking transmitter. Then you can do a 2.1 setup,
but
right?
then you're doubling up on plugs, you're doubling up on systems.
On everything.
And it's just ugly, and it's a cable mess. There's no need for that to be such a messy setup. Like, yes, it works.
Well, but that adds, in Canadian funny money, it adds $2,000 additional cost, more or less.
Yeah.
Because you need to buy a core for $1,300, and I don't know if I'm maybe smoking a pipe here, but I think it's $700 for the transmitter, if it's not more. I'm sure it's more by now. So you are $2,000 on top of a $6,000 subwoofer on top of $10,000 speakers. So it's a $20,000 system.
It's $600 US, the transmitter one.
So $800.
And then you need a receiver for the sub. Oh no, you don't.
No, you don't. It's a 19. You just need a transmitter, and then you need a one either RJ45, Cat 7 or a PL cable, fully seated, and just throw it in from the core into the thing, and then cross it over on a 2.1 switch.
But effectively, you can do a wired setup with 8 and a 19, can't you, with the transmitter? Which is kind of like, then it's just a switch.
With the core, you don't even need the core. I mean the transmitter.
Yeah.
You need a core. It would still be driven from the core.
Yeah, no, I understand, but like the transmitter has left and right and sub out, doesn't it, for cables? So you could do a wired setup with a core wired into a transmitter that you don't use for transmitting. Then it's essentially just a breakout switch.
No, it won't do like that.
Oh, okay.
No, it won't do like that. You can, because you plug it into PowerLink 1, but all the PowerLink 2, 3, and 4 are not outputs anymore, or they're not outs. The only output you have out of the transmitter is the Wi-Fi connection to the speaker. So it crosses over. So essentially you can have 3 speakers technically connected to it, left, right, and a sub. And the sub shows up on the second RJ45 plug on a PL2, which nothing's plugged into it, but it takes it there. And then you go through the button sequence to assign, the noise, and you see which one is the left and right and sub. And then you select, saves it, and then that's it. As soon as you turn on the core, PowerLink on, it feeds the stereo, goes into the transmitter, and then if you have it set to 2.1 setup, which you have to, otherwise the sub won't work, it will, or would it, I don't remember, but at 2.1 setup, it crosses it at 120 hertz, and it plays the music wirelessly to all 3 speakers.
Can you set the crossover point on the transmitter?
No.
Okay.
I don't think it's even possible in a service tool, but it's 120 hertz, like their typical 120 hertz crossover and everything, right?
Yeah. I know it's the standard, but if you have, I don't know, for whatever reason you want 28s with a sub, right? And you don't want a TV, you just want it for a room. You can set that crossover point at like 80. I mean, it makes a bit more sense with like 18s and stuff, but
yeah, but that's the one thing that I don't know. That, again, are we in the territory where the subwoofers are becoming obsolete in the B&O's game plan and strategy for future of the sound? At the end of the day, if you buy 8s and you live in let's say a place like mine, which is not like, or room, let's say you have them in a room the size of this studio apartment, they're more than enough, man. They're way more than enough. Like, if for me, it's more than enough to have the theater with 2 18s. For movies, fuck. Obviously, the Lab 11 helps a lot because it rumbles the couch, so that was good. That was a good addition, man. That was a good addition. I ain't denying that one bit. I don't regret it. That was good. Kareem was laughing at me that I'm, fucking around with the old equipment, but I'm like, you know what? It still works. The subwoofer is now 12 years old, still on the original amplifier because it did 10 years of time in the gym in standby. It never was used. That house, we took out some TVs, and it was after 11 years of the guy living here sold the house, and he just like, I don't need the TVs. And the guy that bought the house is like, I don't fucking care for that. Just take it out because, we're not the TV people. So we took out 2 BeoVision 10s, and one of them, the one with most hours, had 4 days on it in 10 years. So it's a shame. Yeah, it's a shame, but great find per se.
Perfect sale. And who cares?
Yeah, and same with the Lab 11 because that was connected to the BeoSound Encore, which never really correctly worked.
But it looked nice.
It looked beautiful in that room. So yeah, that's where that comes from, and the sub performs no problem. I'm still gonna order a board for it just for shits and giggles with the spare gasket to reseal it. And I'll have a few more years out of it because I like that 11, man. I like the aluminum shells. I'm gonna order them too because there's not a sub that looks that sick. I understand it's not the most powerful thing in the world, and I don't care for that. Like, there's more than enough balls to go around with in the theater itself. So
yeah, I'm in the no sub life ever since I got 50s. Wait, he froze. I need to. This is gonna be loud. No sub life. BeoLab 50s, 90s. You don't need a sub. Subs are nice when they're there for filling something in.
I got cut for some reason here.
Yeah, just no sub life when you have 50s or 90s.
Shit.
Can you hear me?
I'm frozen.
Can you hear me? I can see you. I can see you.
What, are we gonna lose the fucking Wi-Fi in here?
Hello. I can see you.
Yeah.
I can see you.
I can see you too, man.
Okay, well then, can you hear me now?
I can't hear shit.
I
have no sound.
I
don't know what's going on.
You.
All right, well, I'm gonna play it by the ear. It's the Skype, I guess. I've got no fucking sound, bro.
Hang up. Yes. Boomer in tech. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck just happened there.
Oh, we could hear you the whole time. You were just frozen.
That son of a bitch. So yeah, wouldn't be a podcast if it didn't fall apart, right?
Yeah. Well, we heard those N words with the hard R's, the neglector.
Shit. So I don't know what the fuck just happened here. Anyways, let's carry on.
Yeah, we were talking about no sub life. Just get bigger speakers and then you don't need a sub. The subs are okay if you need that lower end filled with something. But if you have big ass speakers that can go that low, I think that's preferable over an additional sub.
Subs still kind of sound localized to me anyways, unless they're directly in the center or behind center.
Yes.
Because if you put it too much to the right or too much to the left, you can still hear the bloody thing. It's woofing. Like, I understand that there is always an optimal position for it, but it doesn't really always work with the decor.
No.
So, you know.
I technically have 7.0.4, but I almost don't think that's fair. Because I personally feel like I have 7.4.4 with 450s, right? Like, it's essentially like having 4 subs.
No, you don't need that. Yeah. And would they even work? Like, even if you put 19 with it, would it even do anything, you think?
No. It barely did anything when I just had the front 50s and 19.
But did it work? Like, at least did it move?
A little bit, but so little.
Because the theater knows basically that.
I think the sub was still redirected mostly.
Oh, I'm sure it was. I'm kind of confused about those redirection levels a little bit. Because even the theater sometimes tunes itself to redirection, like minus 6 dB. So where does it push it then?
In my setup with just 50s, it even redirects the bass to nowhere. I don't know. Yeah, I just set it all to 0, and then it sounded right, and it was like fabulous.
Yeah, no, I changed all my redirection levels.
But it's fabulously much.
Well, two pairs of 50s, that's a lot of booming.
Hypon X. I know not everybody can buy 90s. Like buying big ass speakers that can go down to sub ranges is in general, right? Like 20s do that. Like, I don't see why you would need a sub if you have 20s sitting around. Like, even if you're into other brands, if you can buy a tower speaker that can go to 20 hertz, like, what's the point of a sub at that point?
Not much.
Like, unless... So I have a friend, right? And he has... Was it either 4 BeoLab 5s in his basement or maybe 6 by now. But for him, that is not enough bass because he has like these two of these 1500 watt 15-inch bass monsters right behind the couch. As pure subbed, which is fucking crazy. But so
it's a lot. I think that's a lot. What did they discontinue?
20s.
Oh,
Just get them on the second-hand market. It's fine. They're high-tech enough that they're dumb enough to last forever, essentially.
Yes. Yeah, the only thing you can blow in them most likely is the tweeters.
I mean, they're, in that sense, they're exactly like 18s. You just need to connect them to something, and they work, right? Like,
I so far haven't seen many 20s coming back to service, and given how many like Quebec sold tons, man, they bought out the entire stock inventory when they were announced discontinued. They bought I don't know how many, like 30 or 40 pairs. And like they're all gone now. We have one pair left in the shop, and I think that already has somebody's name on it anyways. But they are very solid speaker. Very, very solid speaker that I've so far never seen anything go wrong with it, other than we've replaced a couple cloths, but that's, movers and whatever. It's just shit that happens. But never on a performance level. I had one that was DOA, but that's, you replace the DSE engine and it just kicked back on and chucking on. Good to go.
I'm not sure I agree, Mark, with it reduces the workload of your front pair. I mean, I don't need I would need basically the base driver of the 90 if I was going to have a sub to reduce the workload of the 50s. The 50s aren't even sweating.
Yeah, I don't think that there's much workload on the 50s in it's a big room, but they can take more than that.
Yeah.
They can take a lot more than that. So
I mean,
plus, if you set the redirection levels to 0, then all the speakers are playing full range bass.
I mean, I recently converted my mother-in-law because we, the three of us together, started watching Band of Brothers. She'd never seen it.
Oh, shit.
And all the bells and whistles on, obviously. And then we go for a smoke break, and she's like, that sound! I felt like I was there.
It's the boy, Ma! Shit. Yeah, I did. Nicholas was here yesterday because he's visiting Montreal with his parents. So I set him down and I played him the Saving Private Ryan scene at like good 70% volume, I guess, or 70 volume. Yeah, dude. And that's an old movie, but it sounds so good. Sounds so good.
They have redone it in Atmos.
I know.
Which is kind of interesting. They haven't done that for Band of Brothers. Don't know why. I was looking up the other day because the mother-in-law asked, like, when was this made? And it turns out Band of Brothers is aired in 2001.
Yeah, it was right after the Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
That movie made a big impact.
It made me feel old all of a sudden, realizing, like, Band of Brothers, yeah, that's 22, 23 years old.
I used to have those on DVDs.
I used to have them on VHSs.
Fuck. I haven't gone that far back.
Yeah, literally. Because when they first aired, they weren't even available to purchase in Europe. So I had to literally VHS record them from the BBC because BBC aired them at the time. And BBC is like no commercials, right? Like HBO.
Fucking hell. I remember watching them too on TV. But
we had an Avant at the time, like 32.
Yeah, I think I got into the Band of Brothers and those movies when I got to BB9. We started consuming a lot of movies, I guess, and shows. But once you spend fucking $25,000 on a TV, you're gonna watch it a little more than not. And that was back in the old money. Fuck.
Yeah.
That would have been what would have been cost now, probably like 70 grand for that TV. It's like buying an 83-inch Avant, not Avant, but Harmony.
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll chuck that BeoSound Core Connect whatever chip into the Mark II of Harmony. Because honestly, I'm a little bit afraid of or scared for the Harmony, because it's not like it's lost its sexy appeal or sex appeal, I guess. It's not that it's lost its sex appeal, but it's lost its comparative
edge.
value and
Yeah.
edge, to what you can get out of a theater, even with the ridiculous price for the floor stand versus what you can get from.
One of the major edges it has, but you'll never ever hear that from a dealer, is stability. Because, like, as a dealer, you just can't really say, right? Like, this thing is fully stable, this thing sounds better, but is wonky.
Yes. No, Harmonies are rock solid.
Yeah.
They are rock solid.
So...
But then again, if they introduce a Mark II, per se, with the BeoSound Core Connect or Mozart platform, let's say, built in, whatever, are we going to go through another ocean of bugs and shit, just like we did with the theater? And because are they going to be? It's not going to be the same hardware for sure.
The Mozart platform is already upgraded.
So,
like, the level doesn't have the ultra wideband, and I think even like one intermittent step in Bluetooth up, aren't we? Like, since the balance, because I think the balance is 5.0 and maybe the 8 or 5.1 or something. Bluetooth.
Yeah. So I don't know how. Well, the level, I think, should just go away, in my opinion. That's like that replaced the faux pas of BeoSound Edge, in my eyes. And for that one, I fucking bit the hook, because I have the level. And, it's a good speaker, but it's got its limitations, per se. Maybe if that nonsense comes out that you can connect it as a surround channel of some sorts, then I might buy another one and add them, and that would somewhat save the utility of it. But I don't really have the utility for that speaker.
Take it apart, drill a hole through the chassis, mount it to the ceiling.
Right, like there's no the wall bracket is very, I would say, cumbersome. I think BeoSound 3 back in 2000s had a better solution with the stand. And if you grab the level and you want to hang it and it's somewhat finicky, you always either start a fucking my button, or you unpause, or you play.
By the way, speaking of my buttons, that thing you've been moaning about for the theater for disabling the my buttons and the buttons on top, right? Mm-hmm. That's now a thing. I now need that, because my cat actually sits often on top of my theater. And yesterday we came home to Deezer playing fairly loudly.
Fuck.
Because she sees her own reflection, she jumps up, then sits on the my button, and this was the Deezer one, and apparently she walks over and slides the volume up.
Oh, Christ. Yeah, see, but that's... It's just because you disable the proximity sensor, the buttons still have a function. They just don't light up, right?
Yeah.
Shit. That's a fucking problem, bro. As I saw the picture of the cat on the theater, and I thought about it. I'm like, oh, dude, this is not gonna go well.
She doesn't scratch it or anything, so
no, I know, but it's not. That's what I was worried about. I'm like, I know cats walk around, right? So I'm like, at some point she's gonna hit a button, bro, and it's gonna be whatever it plays. And yeah, if they walk and they happen to sit on a volume. Yeah, if the cat happens to sit on the volume, then it's a problem, right?
Yeah, come home apparently
she's just pushing windows out. Fuck.
Well, in 2 weeks I'll have new storm-rated windows.
Oh, nice.
So I have to do all the retuning again, because all the speakers have to be like 3 feet away from windows at least, and that sort of thing. And yeah.
Why do they have to be away? Oh, because of the replacing the other ones?
They're replacing all the windows. Like
I would
all the
put
windows
speakers to the middle of the room so they don't fuck them up.
Yeah, I will, but like by moving them and putting them back, right? Like you're gonna have to retune them again.
Put some tape on the ground.
Yeah, but even so, you're never gonna get like the exact angle to where you were sitting.
Fair enough.
That sort of thing. So it's not that I'm bothered, because like our current windows are fucking flimsy, so I need to retune them anyway, because most likely the sound is going to behave quite differently.
Oh, for sure it would. Are they triple pane?
The new ones, no. They're like double pane with like this sort of see-through gel in the middle.
Okay.
Like they're crazy strong. You can, you can throw a baseball at it at like 80 mile an hour and the window will be fine.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
So they probably have a good acoustic properties as well. Wouldn't you think?
I hope so. I don't know, but it's going to change the room regardless, because there's...
Oh, yeah.
There's 2.5 meter of window right next to the right front speaker. Then the right rear 50 has like a dual pocket door that opens for like 3 meters or something. Then there's a meter of wall, and then there's another window.
Oh, fuck.
And then it's open to the kitchen, and then there's another sliding door that opens like 3 meters.
And that's getting changed too?
Yeah, everything.
Oh, fuck.
Like all the windows, like even this window, even the windows in my old office, the front door is going to change, the side door, the door to the pool, everything is going to change.
Nice. So that's going to be an interesting few days.
I mean, the windows,
are they doing it all in one day or 2 days, or how is that going to work? Okay.
I think it's a crew of 6 or something.
That's a cat. Fuck right on the my buttons, man.
Yeah, yesterday evening when we were at home, all of a sudden she put it in pairing mode for a new Beo remote. Like you get this pop-up on the screen, like ready to pair to a new Beo remote and or Bluetooth device.
Dude, you're gonna have that cat reset your shit, man.
I'm just gonna.
Because Bluetooth is very close to the arrows now. Like that's dangerous territory. Because if she happens to sit on both arrows, you're coming back home to default settings.
Yeah, but this is why I need that toggle to have all these buttons off. Like I don't need them. I don't ever use them.
Yeah, no, I don't use mine. I don't like them being even on, because when I wipe the theater, you have to do it from one side to the other only, because otherwise you're gonna turn on the my button and crank the volume all the way to hell.
Yeah.
So,
but I was impressed with the cat can sit all the way on the edge, and the theater doesn't do any of this.
Oh no, man! The cat doesn't weigh shit compared to what's that designed for, 77-inch panel, more or less,
but that sits right in the middle with the weight, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't sit on a side.
No, maybe, it's a solid stand. Like they really made that stand solid as hell.
Maybe I'll make it like a plexiglass cutout with like little pads, so you can do whatever, but nothing really on the response.
It's like on a dial-up phone, the hole for the buttons.
Yeah.
Oh my lord. Yeah, that's not fun. But yeah, I don't.
Because we came home and it's like, honey, did you turn the radio on or was it me? Because I don't think I did. She's like, no, I didn't either. And then, like an hour later, it's like literally ding, ding, ready for pairing. Like, what the fuck?
The cats love it.
Yeah.
See, I guess the drawback if you don't put the TV on your floor stand.
Yeah, it would look weird with an 83 anyway.
Oh yeah. I wonder how long it would support before it started to, mechanically either or somewhat affect the stand. Because 83s are heavy, man. 83s have quite a bit. Also, do you have a boat yet?
I have a tugboat for in the bath.
So,
yeah. No, I'm not much of a boat person. I don't particularly feel like going broke. Like B&O is expensive enough as a hobby.
That's right. Get a boat and put fucking celestials all over it.
God, boats only. The first thing that comes to mind is Step Brothers. That movie. It's with Will Ferrell and what is that other chap? Anyway, they're sort of adult kids that are like 40 and they still live with their parents because they're like slow, but they make their own music. And one of the songs is Boats and Hoes.
I'm gonna make it at the cop. No, I haven't seen that. I watched The Hangover. I have never seen it, so I know shame on me for not ever seeing it, but it's a pretty good. It was a funny movie. I did watch the 1917. Very impressed. Very impressed. That I don't know how they did that one shot, the whole movie, just one. I guess because it's really there's only like one or two places where it cuts to a different.
Yeah, when he's knocked out.
Yeah, but that's about it, man. It's unbelievably well done movie. Also, the sound was great too.
Told you.
The sound was great.
Yeah, 1917, I think it's called. It's a fantastic movie. Mm-hmm. It's very, very unique in so many ways. Just even a war movie in World War One is kind of unique.
Yeah, the filmography, I guess you could call it. It was really well done, man. Even the effects, the whole 9 yards, man. It was a very, very well done movie. I very much enjoyed it. So.
Oh, I totally missed some comments over on the Twitch side. Generic Enthusiast says, I drive a Kia for 50s too. Sounds like you're the ideal B&O client. I guess I am. I mean, in that sense, right? Like, I'd rather have my Porsche indoors that makes nice sounds. And it can make flat 6 sounds. Just have to choose the correct file.
No, I'm the same way. And quite honestly, like, longer that I live in Montreal, the more I realize that owning a nice car is doing the nice car a huge disservice. Because the roads here are fucking appalling. I'd rather, like I spent the money on the 90s and they doubled in the value to what I had bought them when I bought them. They doubled and then some. So it's something that, if it really came push to shove that I have to sell them for one or other reason, I can still at least recoup my cost on what I've invested into them. Can't do that with the car, especially if you put 50, 60, or 100,000 kilometers on it. So.
Yeah, there's not that many cars that do that.
Well, you have a good 20 for the disaster will occur. Oh, God.
Doesn't have to be personal.
That's right. It's 50-50 to the disaster will occur. Hilarious. Yeah, I don't know. I think 2024 is going to be good, hopefully, for me, and the lawyer shit is going to work out, and I can finally get out of here.
That would be nice.
That would be very nice. Because right now, I guess the Bio gods have spared me of suffering another winter here. It's pretty good weather so far. Last year, about this time, I had a 0.5 meter of snow on my balcony. Couldn't even open it.
It was cold here today for Florida, I would say. Like, I wouldn't say it was super cold, but it was kind of chilly. It was 12 C in the morning.
Yeah, that's pretty cold. Especially for a humid place like that, that starts to get chilly. That's for sure jacket time. Even here, like 12 degrees or 6 degrees, it's colder than what Calgary is. So.
Imagine 90s with Bluetooth.
Oh
No.
God, no! You never put that on there,
This
man.
is the one thing where I will absolutely rail against B&O. Like, if you want a very high net worth individual as customers, and they come to your showroom and watch 50s, 90s, and go like, does it have Bluetooth? Educate them, please, for crying out loud.
The Bluetooth's no good.
I mean, why would you? It makes no sense.
No. I wouldn't do it.
I mean, and I know it happens, right? Because I speak to dealers, and dealers tell me that this is it gets asked on more than one occasion.
Why?
Like customers come in like 50s. I'm interested. Does it have Bluetooth? It's like, and people go, well, when the dealer says no, and they go, it's like, no, tell them why, because it's shit. It's like you lose all the quality that these things are made for.
At that point, you tell them no. You just get a core and you AirPlay to it, and yeah, but you have to explain it. That's just what it is. I think it's also the advertising of Bluetooth when it's basically proposed as a be-all solution, right? For everything. But
it's the same silly advertising as Atmos is height speakers, right?
Yes.
Because speaking of a whole nother thing, the Apple TV doesn't actually put out true HD content. Any native player on your LG doesn't either. So I ordered an Amazon Fire Stick 4K Max because that's one of the few cheap solutions that actually puts out Dolby Vision, HLG, HDR10 plus the audio codecs.
Okay.
And I was like looking at what does it, and essentially there's now two devices that do it. It's the NVIDIA, what's it called again? NVIDIA Shield.
Mm-hmm.
And the Amazon Fire Stick 4K Max. And I was looking like maybe there's something in Roku or whatever. But even Roku on their website says it'll put out Atmos if your speakers support it. Which is like, that's not what it is.
But it's always the misconception, right? That we're up against.
Yeah.
Of how it's
like Atmos doesn't mean height at all. Like I was saying earlier, with the oopsie of having only 50s on, because the 17s are whiter, right? So I can't tell that there's no light that they're off all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I didn't notice, but like with Atmos, it's like, holy hell, this is still so enormously good. And there is a bunch of stuff happening here, but it's just the decoder in the theater doing some magic.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, when the height speakers are on, it makes it a higher experience, as in it pulls the room up, but...
Yeah, theater does a lot of magic. Now, sitting here and listening to it when watching movies, or even listening to music, which is kind of, I wish... I have to wish. I think I'm gonna take a few days off in January since it's gonna be slow, and I'm gonna go to the fucking storage and I'm gonna dig out my Lab 4s, because I'll sit on the BeoLab 8s for a bit before I buy them. I can't. We have more or less all of them are sold out type of thing, and I have no solution for my stands because there's no table stands in stock right now.
Yeah, so this is the Roku one. Dolby Atmos decode via HDMI requires Dolby Atmos compatible speakers. It's like, there's no such thing. Like, unless you mean a soundbar with a decoder, but that's not the same thing as an actual speaker, right? Like, any speaker can do Atmos.
Well, yeah, it's up to the receiver that's decoding the signal and pushing it to the different channels.
Yeah.
Because no matter how smart of a speaker you have, it's still just assigned one role. left, right, center, whatever.
Yeah.
Go all the way around.
So it's. I mean, I understand the point Sandeep is making, where like the streaming boxes don't really need true HD, but I don't want it for streaming as such. I just want to play stuff on my Plex server at max bitrate, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's all I want to do with support for the codecs that are actually on my server.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to go back to the days where like I have to get a DVD player and walk over and put a disc in every time. I'd rather buy a disc and rip it to the server and play it that way, and that way I have a whole catalog of things.
Yeah, like almost like the Kaleidoscape system.
Yeah,
that used to exist. I don't know if they're still around or not. That was a great system. It was expensive, but yeah, I liked that system back in the day.
I mean, I understand Plex is not the mainstream thing, so it's. I know it's unusual what I'm looking for, but I mean, the NVIDIA Shield does it. So why doesn't anybody else? Right? It's. I don't know. I just don't understand. Like I understand, but I kind of don't understand. Because like you don't want to pay that $5 license fee or whatever it is, if you don't need to. And it is probably edge cases, but more and more people are using home servers for whatever. I mean, also, Apple being Apple, they probably have Atmos rated live concerts for rent or to purchase on their platform, right? Like, so that effectively can't play in true HD. Which is
but I don't believe any of those streaming services have as much data transfer pushed in for. I don't give a shit what codec they use. There's nowhere near that the quality you will get being read off of either a solid state media or a Blu-ray per se. You know, having it saved on the hard drive or a stick or the Blu-ray, you will get way more in picture quality and sound than you ever get from streaming that shit on Netflix or Prime or whatever. I don't care for your subscription level.
No,
I've seen it on this.
Well, it's also a network issue in general, right? Like
it throttles down and then the picture goes pixely, and it's. I've never had that experience when, with the movies that I downloaded, basically.
During pandemic days, like Netflix literally had a problem with too many people watching something, where their server park could just not handle it in lossy, to then go to lossless, which is 2x, 3, 4x the data.
Yes.
Like you could service a quarter of the amount of people for the server infrastructure you have.
Yeah, Sandeep's right. I completely agree. If you want the best that there is for picture quality, physical media still rocks the world.
Yeah, okay, but that's kind of what I'm doing through Plex in a way, right? Like it's hardwired to the TV, so I mean, there is.
So you're good.
Yeah, but I just need something that can play the bloody codecs effectively.
Yeah, I'm starting to face that same problem, to be honest, because I got a couple of movies that there's no sound because the codec is not compatible with the TVs. And I wonder, there's no way to download the codec into the TV, isn't there? Like into the LG panels.
No, because then you would have to pay for a license. So unless
Happy New Year, Stefan.
So Happy New Year, Stefan. Unless you crack your TV's like motherboard or something and add it that way, like like you could pretend like it is software, but like if you do it the official way, LG would have to pay these people. That's
so the better way to do it is just get a long ass HDMI cable played off the computer. For me, I guess for that one movie
that
or
works. Two. But for me, that doesn't where it is because I would need like a 15-meter HDMI cable, pull it in like the most ridiculous way, and then hope it still has a good signal, right? And then if it doesn't, it's like, God damn it, I spent half a day doing this nonsense for a cable that doesn't work.
If you're going, further stretch than 5 meters, in my opinion, go with an extender.
Yeah.
That's it. And yeah, you can buy the cheapies on Amazon, but I don't know. I don't think I would pay the Atlona money for an extender anymore. I don't think that they're worth $600-700. Comparatively, yes, they give you 10-year warranty, but in 10 years, if this fails once, if you buy one for, let's say, $100, you can afford it to fail 6 times, 7 times per se, before you're in a loss in rebuying. So
yeah, but yeah, that's why I'm looking at the Fire Stick 4K Max, because it, like, essentially I just need something to run the client that passes it through like that, because and all of the LG panels and all of the other Sony, Panasonic, whatever, they don't care about pass through, right? Because that just means something else is giving audio signal that goes through it, and they don't have to pay a license for that.
yes.
Also, currently, the True HD license is the most expensive license because Dolby Digital Plus has been around for so long.
Yes, it's old news, more or less.
Yeah.
Stefan, don't fuck it up. Get yourself an LG panel. Don't piss around with no Sonys, bro. You already got a full setup at the theater and all that. If you want to control it properly, man, get an LG. Get a G3
if you want a B&O
83.
remote, absolutely LG.
Yeah.
He says the nerds on YouTube say the Sony has a nicer image. Correct. But the difference these days is within the percentage points. Like, the biggest difference on the OLED panel TVs is, I think, 5% between the worst and the absolute best. And LG is not the worst.
No, it's gotten really close, and
I mean, I think some of the Philips ones are quite meh.
I've set up a few Sonys, but it's a fucking disaster with the menus, man. I don't know if I'm just used to one, but even Samsung I found cumbersome. Like, they're not as logical as the.
Yeah, but it's what you care for, right? Like, do you care for the nth degree of picture quality? Also, Stefan, do you how good are your eyes? And
Yeah.
like, if you have glasses, there's no difference.
Mm-hmm.
What level of control
Full control.
Yeah, you can fully integrate it. Like, you have the remote. You don't ever have the two remote situation.
If you have Helix or whatever for TV, which I don't remember you do, you can control that with the B&O remote. Everything is basically down to one remote control.
Yeah, you can use my buttons and all that. You can start your programs with or your apps with one button.
Yeah. So if you're streaming only, then you can have, I don't know what you're consuming for streaming, but let's say if you're watching YouTube, like I have a my button set to YouTube where obviously it's on a floor stand, so the floor stand turns a certain way, the speaker preset goes to a certain I guess position, because that's where the stand turns as well with it, and it goes to a certain volume. All you got to do is just fucking hit OK on something that you want to watch. That's about it.
Yeah.
Where I don't think you have that same experience. Well, you do, I guess, but through a Sony remote, because you turn on the remote and then it just defaults to whatever it defaults to, right?
Speaker groups, stand positions, you name it, it's all in there. Sound modes, you never have to take your phone out of your pocket again to change stuff.
Yeah, it's all inside. It's all inside the remote, so you don't. Yeah, that's a big plus, because I never really use the app in my house other than when I get into the Deezer and play Deezer. Now, that's a good idea that the conversation came around and swung around the Deezer app or Deezer part of the app in the B&O. What I discovered, I guess, is that flow, the colored flow thing.
Yeah.
Based on it works exactly like in Deezer, like the old mood wheel type of thing.
Yeah.
So wherever you tap, because I kept tapping, I'm like, this weird shit started playing. I'm like, what is that? I tapped on the blue. Okay, now it's a little more technical. tap on the orange, it starts to like, goes to this hillbilly territory, a little bit of a moonshiny. Yeah. So I'm like, I realized that this actually does the same function as it does it on the Deezer app now, finally. So it's not just the flow.
Shouldn't that be larger then?
I would think so.
So that you have a bit more precision in what sort of color you pick?
I wish that it was also described in what the moods are, because I have no idea. I guess if I'm feeling blue, it should be sad, but it's all more like techno and Kraftwerk fucking came up and all this nonsense. I'm
well,
okay.
If you take drugs, you'll feel better.
Then you go to the red one, it starts to like play metal and shit.
Okay.
Stuff that I don't even like.
Wait,
what is that?
Red be love unless they think you're like a hate lover or something?
No, it's like energetic, right? So they give you freaking insanity. So, yeah.
LG all the way, Stefan.
Yeah. Don't fuck around, bro. You're gonna regret it for another few years if you're gonna go with the Sony panel.
I think Vincent at HDTV Test had a test and the difference was minimal, and then they had a test in Germany as well where the LG won, I think. So yes, the general consensus is the Sony is better picture quality, slightly less banding, that sort of thing. How far do you sit away from it? How precise are you watching for going hey, I see that, and taken out of the movie? It's not like we're talking 18s versus 50s or something, right?
Yes,
we're talking within the margin of error.
But I also, now with the G3 panels where they have that personalized picture AI deal, where you run through more or less a visual questionnaire where you select 2 photos out of 6 different sets of photographs, right?
Mm-hmm.
One has more for the white balance, the yellow balance, the darks, and how it all, like how you perceive it, and based off of that, it calculates what the algorithmic processing should be for how the picture is displayed for you to see the best. I don't think that is on the Sonys, and it does make a difference.
And if you're still not satisfied, get somebody over to calibrate it anyway. You most likely have to do that with the Sony as well to get the best out of it. There's no way everything is calibrated out straight out the gate.
So I would say, and go with the G. Don't go with the C's or the cheaper shit, because the panel quality, the picture quality is significantly different. The G3 is the way to go now. Period. That's bottom line for discussion. You already bled out for a theater and 2 pairs of 18s and a 19, bro. What's another $3,600 for a fucking 55 or a 65, whatever you're going with?
I mean,
65 is
Sony's processor's just out of this world. I don't think so, because we're not. It's not major steps from one to the other. If you want to give you the points basis, like I said, it's a 2 to 3% difference. That's we're not.
That's negligible.
Yes.
If it at any best and sense of a term, in my eyes, 3%, I do not think I could justifiably say that I would be able to see the difference. Well, maybe in a specific A to B scenario comparisons when you have the panels
where
beside,
you mostly see it, right?
But that's about it.
The 2 panels next to each other, but can you even tell after a few days when you don't have a reference to the other?
So yeah. You're in Florida, Stefan? Come back with some sticks, man. Let me know when you're coming.
Yeah.
So, but I still think that I wouldn't piss around if it's what's designed in coherently or coherently work with an LG panel. I would just go for that. I wouldn't even I could have gotten a cheaper panel and put it on a VESA mount too, and kind of make it.
If you're into B&O with a Harmony, a theater, whatever, I think that puts yes, the picture quality may not be the ultimate match, although it is slightly dependent on which panel you get. Right, there's always a bit of variance in that. the MLA is kind of nice in the G3s, which make it even brighter if you don't feel like you're staring into the sun enough at times. But what's a bigger than 5% difference is the integration with B&O if you already have it.
Yes.
It's such
That's huge. That's
ease
huge.
of life upgrade.
No, because you have a coherent system that everything works together in one unison. You know what I mean? Then you can have, if you want to explore the way that you can have the remote now with 2 different rooms per se, if you're willing to play with the list function. But it's G3 all the way, bro.
I think the G3s have the same tech in the whole lineup. I'm pretty sure.
Yes, they do. Yeah. It's exactly the same tech. Maybe I think on the 77 has a larger brightness output than the 83. From the stats that I was dabbling in, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that may be power budget though.
I don't think it's the power
denser,
budget for
but
sure.
Same power budget is like perceive that as brighter. But God, it's so bright.
Bro, I have a G2 panel, which is not, it's not something to frown upon either. But when we watch movies, we usually watch movies in the dark because I don't like, with the way that I have it set up, I have underlighting under the bed so I can see the bed reflecting in the theater, in the wings. So I shut everything off. Maybe we go extreme sometimes and pull the curtain to completely black it out, but we just have, and it's more than enough, man. And when you go from a dark to a light scene, you fucking squint.
Yeah, I have a C2 panel, mostly because I like hiding a bunch of shit and cables behind the panel, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I get away with that murder because I have a vessel, right? So I can hide stuff in that cavity. But yes, it's C2s are good for that.
But even the C2 is like supposedly the super inferior panel, but it's so goddamn bright. I still have a power saving on, like to a minimum, but it's not fully off. Like when it's off and some of these, like 1917, right? Where he's in that dark alley where it's super dark and the whole thing is on fire and he meets that German that starts shooting at him.
Yeah.
God, it's like, you're like, I'm staring into the fucking fire.
Yeah, it's bright, man. It was a very good scene. And like, there's obviously no bleed through, right? Like you would get on the LCD panels technology. It's, it's awesome. Yeah, 77, you definitely get way more cinematic experience, but, it depends on how far you sit. Like, knowing your place layout, 77 would make a lot of sense because that would match how much sound you can actually pump with the picture.
I also personally feel that bigger is better in the sense that if you have a bunch of films that are 21:9.
Yes.
Because it becomes a heck of a lot smaller on the smaller panels than it does on the fairly large panel.
Yes. But yeah, I would go with the 77.
I mean, also this like this banding and stuff that you have in the near blacks to grays and like where the pixel is like on for 1 to 5%, right? I wonder, like, because the experts like to show us that, but like, can you even really see that still at like 3 meters away? Like, or
I find
maybe,
the only thing,
or is it more sort of a ghost you see, or like, or is it, are they that eagle-eyed that they go, yeah, no, right there?
I watched the Hangover movie on Netflix with my girlfriend, and she has like just a basic account, so it's at 720p on a 4K panel, and it still looks pretty good. You can tell, where the bit rate suffers, I guess, but it's still watchable. It's not like, oh my god, what the fuck is that? It's not like you're looking at moving blocks of color. It's still good.
Yeah.
But then being, again, you're feeding it what you're feeding it, you're gonna get some sort of a output, I guess, regardless. I don't know. I don't have much experience with Sony's. From my experience with Sony's that I had, they're a nightmare to deal with when it comes to setting them up. That's the only thing. And I think it's LG that supplies the Sony the panels.
I'm pretty sure because of the patents.
That's right.
Like for the longest time, Panasonic had, because LG is weird, right? Like you have LG Electronics and LG Oh God, what is it called? Anyway, LG is two companies. The company of LG that makes the OLED panels is not the company that sells the LG TVs.
No, it's a subsidiary.
Yeah. So to not be in like monopoly positions and get sued, like they have to be fair to their competitors with this stuff. And that's why for the longest time, Panasonic had the best LG panels.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, because they were in on a deal earlier than even LG's own subsidiary or Sony was.
Oh, okay.
And that's when Panasonic had like the heat dissipation layer on the back, and their OLEDs could go brighter for the same life because LG had that exclusive.
Mm. The last TV that I would ever consider even buying is a Samsung frame, unless you're literally intending to just put it and use it as an art form or dynamic art, I guess.
Yeah.
Those have terrible picture, man. Terrible picture. And we do a couple of them because people like the frame aspect of it, but it's not a TV that I would honestly sit in front of and watch, to be honest. It's not.
I mean, put it this way, right? Like if you have a Sony OLED that was the best, a year, 2 years ago, and if you go to a G3, you're not getting a worse TV. It's equal or better.
I would say it would be better.
Like technically as good as the newest Sony? Within 2%? Yay, nay, I don't know. Depends also on what you're watching, I guess.
Yeah.
Then, so 3-4 years, you're going to get a better TV anyway. If you go for a G3.
Yeah. It'll be G5 by then, hopefully, if not more.
Well, give it 3 months and the G4 launches.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's always March, April somewhere.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Fuck, the time flies.
Yeah. I mean, CES, is it CES? I think is in like a week or so. Or that to show where...
January, it's first or second week of January, yeah.
Yeah. So you probably are going to get even an even better TV, or you're going to get a better deal on the G3.
Exactly. Shit, if you're in States, fly over to CES, man. Go look at that crazy stuff. A G4 comes with protective sunglasses.
I really don't understand this nit war, where like I think Samsung
because they don't have any other specs to fight over, man.
We go to 2,000 or 5,000 nit like it's meant to be. It's like, yeah, but that's off a projector or something, right? Like what is meant to be? Because 2,000 nits, looking into it, like even if it's a 10% frame, it's so bright. It's painful.
But I think that's the only spec that they have left to fight over, really, other than, I guess, the processing. Because that processing and upscaling is getting pretty damn close, especially with the AI that they have implementing into it and how it's processing the picture now, man. It's insane. It's insane. Even YouTube, like slow-mo guys, the channel, they had a new video of shooting two shape charges against one another. And just like, the B-roll footage, I guess, of them, talking and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, holy fuck, man. Like, that is insanely good picture for a YouTube stream.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's in 4K, but like the cameras they use, it also depends on, if you're watching
YouTube
streams.
has 8K now.
Maybe that was, but still, my TV doesn't do
Actually,
it. But
you get a better bitrate because you're on premium.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, because there's a bunch of channels like Slow-Mo guys that do for 8K, or at least a bitrate for 8K on 4K, right? That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because YouTube changed something in the last 3 months or so, where certain, like MKBHD usually does, he films in like 16K or something ridiculous. I don't even know. But like half a year ago, you could like max out the bitrate on that little gear icon, and now you can't anymore unless you pay. Yeah,
for me, I can do that. But yeah, that's exactly it. And also the cameras, I watched like the dude that goes and busts up the beaver dams, right? Fuck off! It's a relaxing channel. It's when you see that dam fall, it's like so cool.
Wait, so you're saying this Canadian beats up beavers?
He's American. There's one guy that I watch. He's in U.S. He's a little bit more hillbillyish.
Oh, so this American beats up Canadian beavers?
Because they use tannerite. They go tannerite hunting for beaver dams. So that's a little more of a. It's very much more sudden. The other guy is from I think Lithuania that he does it, and even from like his phones that the recordings are or whatever he's shooting it at, it's a pretty good resolution still. Like it's a good picture for what dumb of a show it is.
Look, iPhones can like easily record 4K video now. It's crazy from where we were like even 10 years ago, right?
Oh, it's 5 years still. It's insane of a difference.
I mean, a 5-year-old 4K Handycam was massive money, more than an iPhone, and now an iPhone just goes and it's better color, stabilized frame too. It's just in a phone,
exactly.
Right? It's a secondary function to what it actually is.
For what it does, but yeah, well, to me, I think that's more or less a primary function for the younger generation is to have a good camera, right? Because you gotta boast about your life on TikTok and
pounding beavers, man,
Instagram and whatever else. Exactly. So. But yeah, I don't know. Overall, I would go with what's prescribed with B&O that works the best, because then you get the full value of what you had already invested a lot of money into.
Generic Enthusiast over on Twitch just said something I kind of totally forgot about that is common to me, but LG is one of the few, if not the only, that doesn't have a logo on its TV.
Yeah, it does not.
Which is something I really appreciate.
It's weird now that you bring it up, it does not actually have a logo, because I saw Samsung has a little, where that button is. So, yeah, no, that's weird. I never realized that. Yeah, there's a LG logo on the back of the sticker panel with the serial number, but that's about it. There's a logo on the box.
Especially if you're tying it into B&O, it's better to have a panel that's logoless.
In my opinion, it is.
Yeah.
It becomes more brand of a B&O brand than anything else. Plus, for Stefan, it's not applicable because it's going to go on the wall. But I like the fact that you can treat the back panels and the gap for the brackets and all that nonsense properly.
How bright is a candle?
I don't know.
How bright is a candle?
Is it a scented candle or an IKEA candle? Is there variance, I guess? How long is the wick?
1 nit is equivalent to 1 candela per square meter. So one candle is essentially 1 nit per square meter. So if the HDR range is to 10,000 nits, how the hell are you not going blind when it's on?
Yeah, it's like staring into a flashlight, basically, at that point.
Yeah, but just, I don't know, hold a candle right there and stare into the flame, right? Now I have 10 of them. Like, that's bright as hell. Like, if you look back into a dark spot, you're going to see those candles, like, still, right? Like, you sort of have to look around your focus point and not see the candles anymore.
I got some weird stuff going on here.
I mean, yeah, the whole nits and whatever, it's fine up to a point, but I remember thinking, oh, it mattered because, like, LG said they, like, in the C9, C7 days, like, oh, we can go to 1,000, and it was actually 800. And then you started watching something and thinking, well, it could be brighter. And then you turn all the power saving features off, and it's like, holy shit. And it's gotten even worse over the years, right? Especially if you sit in a darker room.
I leave that on auto power save for older clients because it does the local dimming. Well, not local dimming, but it dims with the output of or measures within what the brightness of the inside of the room is at that point. Because if you put it to, like, what is it, basic or standard mode? Yeah, and if you put it to standard mode, then there is no dimming. So the panel has the same brightness level in a sunny day than it has in the middle of the night, and it's too much. It's eye straining as hell. And I've tried it here because, like, I had this wasn't really an argument, but it was kind of an argument with the guys that like, why do you always put it to standard? It's bright and fucking, just blare it. Like, it's not the point of it, man. Like, I understand, but I don't understand the logic behind it. I'd rather have it dynamically adjust to what it's supposed to do than, because even with mine, like, I have significant amount of light coming from behind the screen because it's against the window.
Yeah.
And it still compensates fairly well, even though the sensor is pointing towards the front, and it's encompassed by the VES amount from the back, so there is no light seepage into it really, other than what it measures from out front.
Just hang it an inch higher, man.
Fudge. No, I actually was thinking,
clean so you can get your fingers.
I was actually thinking of taking the panel off and moving it one hole lower so it almost touches, because I find that the gap now is irritating me a little more than it used to. Because it could go down by about 3 more mils.
I personally much more care what the near zero output and how that is handled than going much brighter.
That's exactly it. For me, it's what's important is the dark scenes.
Look at Avant or 11 BV10 was never really not bright enough, but I think they maximally went up to 300.
Plus, they had the glass over top of it too, for God's sakes. That reduced the light output going through.
Yeah.
But it also improved the darkness, right? Or dark contrast. So
it's one of these things. I don't know. Personally, for the integration, LG is just the way to go. It's
at least in the B&O world, it definitely makes sense, man.
It's on par, as good as you could be. Look, it's almost like if you, I don't know, went golfing with Rory McIlroy, and in your round of golf you shot 3 extra shots over what he did, and then go, see, he's clearly way better. It's like, holy shit, you're still a pro, man.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't have any complaints, even though it's a G2 panel. What am I going to stress over now because the G3 came out? Fudge. For me, it looks better. The picture now that I gotten used to the OLED output versus what the plasmas or the LCDs of the yesteryears of the B&O tech was. I really like it.
Yeah,
I really like the picture. It's a big step forward, and especially like even.
I mean, I must say though, the standard or vivid mode is a bit too candy-like.
Yes, it's too
that
much.
is like a useless mode for sales, effectively.
I actually, in mine, I have the reduced blue light selected, so the picture is more yellowish, I guess, whatever it is. I like it more because it doesn't look like a computer monitor.
Yeah, it's also better for your eyes. Like you don't get like weird headaches if you're too close to it.
And I'm fairly close to my panel, I have to say.
I mean, I feel like I'm close to it, though I'm 3.5 meters away.
Fuck.
I mean, eventually I'll buy a 97, but it's just too expensive at the moment.
Yeah, once the market goes more mainstream with that size, then it's more feasible, in my opinion, to buy it.
I mean, it has to come down by 50% at least. Like 10 grand for an OLED of any size is just a heck of a lot of money for a TV, any TV that's consumable essentially in 5 to 7 years.
Yep.
I mean, we're not even sure that these days any electronics gets support for that long.
That's a fair assumption, I would say.
I mean, LG supports CXs still and C9s, I think. So LG, like Apple does, I think 5 years and then security updates or something, which is nice. But I'm not sure everybody does that.
Well, and the way the future and present moves, it's the steps, I guess, in softwares now are more incremental and more leapish, I guess, than what it used to be.
Yeah.
So hopefully they're not going to come up with another UHD, HDR, double whatever standard, and Which I think is heading that way too. There's always going to be a newer standard because that's the way the technology sells, right?
Yeah, Dolby will come up with something eventually.
Though they came up with the 7-point system or 7-point surround was strictly because they maxed out on 5-point system, and they didn't. The speaker industry was pushing on the fact that they want to have more speakers.
I mean, at this point, we need what, like Atmos with the 12 speakers or something? So you probably need a different HDMI standard.
Yeah, and a new receiver again, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm happy with what I got, and I like the B&O solution to it. Theater's coming along. I haven't had it crash for a long time. I got to knock on wood. I haven't had any problems so far whatsoever. I did purge because I had a whole bunch of Beo remotes, and I took from clients' places because they were faulty or whatever. So I tried to test them here and whatever. And I ended up, I think I had like 7 Beo remote ones on my theater list. So I had to go and just
put tape on which ones are yours.
No, I flushed them all out and repaired the ones that I have here because I still have 3 Beo remote ones, but I just didn't, because the problem that I have with the theater versus, let's say, stage tells you the serial number beside the remote control that it's paired to it, so at least it's easier to get into. Mm-hmm. But with the theater, the only way you can see that is through the product health center. And the ones that are disconnected don't show the serial, so it's easy to find. And but yeah, I just nuked it all, restarted from scratch, paired all the remotes, and also for all the people that are not in favor of Google voice services and so on and so forth, like on the Emerge or a level, I found a bypass that you can when you set up your Emerge, you pair it with the Google Home. Otherwise, you won't be able to pair any Bluetooth device to it, period. And once you pair it to Google Home and it's all happy, then you go back to the Google Home app and you just remove the bloody thing from it. So then the voice assistant stops working, but it still allows you to pair whatever Bluetooth device you want. And that stays with it unless you reset the factory settings, the given product Emerge level or
God, I'm so balance. Happy we're beyond this bullshit.
Same. So,
because I still don't understand why anybody thought it's a good idea that our Bluetooth connection is owned by a third party.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why? For what fucking
That was a blindly made decision, that's for sure. That's for sure. Stefan, if you wonder about the 28s, well, my personal opinion on them, I guess, what I spoke about earlier also, is it's 2 different speakers in one, especially with the theater. If you have them stereo paired, they sound completely different to than when they are stereo paired to the theater. So when it comes to imaging, superior, unbelievable when it comes to playing music and whatever, but they are definitely not something that I would go with. And if I did go with it, I would have to go with 2 pairs, one for the front, one for the rear. That's where I would go with. If you have harmony and you have them stereo paired to harmony, then there is no acoustical difference between those 2 because the harmony does not correct acoustically for the room. No. So their bass output is unchanged, but it changes significantly on the theater with the redirection levels and so on and so forth. So I don't think that even if I own them, I would have them stereo paired for that,
just use them as speakers and use the theater as a source.
Exactly, as the sake of the energy saver or whatever. I understand that in Europe, if you're bleeding out of your butt for how much it costs for electricity, then yeah, it makes sense to just, let's say, listen to the 28s and keep your TV and the rear channels and everything else in standby. But other than that, I don't think that there is really any purpose to it unless you have them as a completely standalone system. Which even at that point, I would still resort to having a remote control or a Beo remote halo to control the speakers versus the hands-on navigation. So,
I mean, I'm used to that from the old BeoVision days anyway, so I kind of prefer it to just go through the TV.
Well, that's how I was brought up, man. Honestly, or like living with the B&O, you don't. fucking.
It also makes source switching and that sort of thing so much faster
easier.
and easier. And
well, it doesn't really make any difference to source switching, because as soon as you, let's say, turn on the TV, the Wi-Fi connection takes over and stereo pairing cuts off. Not cuts off, but stops, and they become just Wi-Fi speakers.
Well, not necessarily, right? Like, well, in Wi-Fi, yes, but if they're wired, like, let's say you have a stereo pair playing in the back, and your TV starts up, but your TV starts up as a 2.1 or 3.1. Then there's no signal going to the back, so the back keeps playing if on the stereo pair.
Does that happen to you?
Well, not with 50s.
No, it won't happen with the 28s either, because as soon as I have a BeoLab 11 set up only in 2 speaker presets, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then I have one that's called table, so the TV turns when I'm having dinner, so I can kind of watch the TV, and I only have the TV going, but not the 18s and the Lab 11. The Lab 11 stays on. The PowerLink signal comes to it, so the Wi-Fi connection is still active.
But that's what I mean with Wi-Fi, right? But when they are wired, they only come out of the stereo paired Mozart thing if the PowerLink is actually active.
I don't know if the eco mode is deactivatable in that sense, but I see what you're saying now, because no, I haven't had them wired in. Yeah. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll just hardwire the BeoLab 11 and see what happens, because I'm planning to do that. It's as convenient as that.
Because with Wi-Fi, as soon as the theater is on, everything's on.
Everything turns on. Yes, that you're correct there. So I haven't done that hardwired wise, but I will do it. I have PowerLink cables here, so I'll pull it up and see. I got nothing but fuck all to do.
But this is why I prefer like using the theater as the source, and like source switching being easier.
Exactly. Plus, also it sounds better because it's already attenuated to the sound of the room, or what the room does to the sound per se.
So if you have your rear theater or 28 still playing as 28s for radio or whatever, but you say I want TV or whatever, even with PL, right? They go off. And the TV starts, even if it's 3.0, whatever, or just a theater. But you're not in that weird situation where this thing still plays and that thing now plays, but they're 2 different things.
Yeah, or you have to switch the speaker group just in order to activate them to shut off.
Yeah.
So, no, that makes sense. I haven't played with it. I will experiment, because I do have the Lab 11. I'll do it on the PowerLink. I don't freaking remember if when I had it power linked in, if it did that or not. I'll have to check. I'm really curious now. If I can just back up the microphone.
Pretty sure with my Harmony anyways, that when I was listening to something 2.0 on just the 50s, I could touch the top of the 28s and have them play something.
Or join to the TV.
Yes.
So that's weird. Yeah, I haven't played with because all of ours are on Wi-Fi inside the shop. There's no PowerLink going into the 28s, because ones are in the display where that's impossible to wire them for. It was already a pain in the ass to just get the power there.
And I think when they're out of the speaker group, they just go off, right? They don't stay don't stay open unless you're in Wi-Fi.
Yes, and that's one thing that we don't have them on hardwire. I'll have to play with that a little bit.
I mean, very niche problem. It's not really a problem, but this is why I prefer to use a TV of any sort as the main source for throwing.
Well, you have full control over everything, right? And if you have a surround sound or surround setup, then you can actually utilize these speakers in completely different scenarios as well, which you can't do that with the BeoSound core, or that's where the story ends essentially, because there's no more other players really. Everything's built into the speakers.
So I mean, back in the day, we had we had a house like this was the main room with the TV and then surround was here, and there was a wall here, but the dining room was there.
Mm-hmm.
So we just switched speaker group so that these were then
fronts.
Yeah.
That's something that you can't do on anything. That I had come across a lot of receivers here, but none of them have that ability to reassign speaker roles like that, which is quite unique.
I mean, you can put them technically in different places, but I don't think you can change on the fly.
No. You have to swap cables or something, or run the cables. Or
just retune or reset it, like put stuff in different positions manually.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, no, it's a different story completely when it comes to the utility of it. And also there's no sexy behind it when you have a fucking black ass receiver sitting on there. Just ugh.
That's why you still need an AV cabinet.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing against AV cabinets. They can be very nice cabinets, but it's kind of in my opinion, a necessity if you have
if you want a clean installation,
amps and cords and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, there's nothing that beats the elegance of B&O when it's properly done and wired properly. I've seen a whole bunch of different setups, man. Nothing ever looks as clean, or if it's clean, it's a cumbersome control. I don't understand how people prefer iPad control, and we have a lot of clients that prefer iPad with the Savant system, and I could not be fucking bothered to have an iPad to change channels on the TV and navigate.
But are you actually watching TV, or is it just on in the background and you're just doing shit on your iPad at that point?
Really, right? Like, yeah. I don't know how these people live, but it's just, a lot of people they prefer the iPad for the control. I'm not, yes, cool, you got a dedicated iPad for it, but I'm not a fan of that. I really still appreciate the hands-on remote control. Hopefully soon the prayers will be heard and answered, and we're going to have it backlit, because that would be cool if they come up with the Mark to be a remote one. I think they still should entertain that idea, because if the cheap ass remotes from like Helix that run on 2 AA batteries have a fucking microphone thing that you can talk to it, which means it's connected not at least Bluetooth. If not it's not on the Wi-Fi, but I'm certain that it's connected via Bluetooth for the voice control, and it's got infrared as well, so you can either turn off whatever TV you have, because you can program all that into the remote, and the buttons are bloody backlit. And B&O doesn't have any of those. Like, you don't really. I would highly refrain of suggesting that they should go to the voice commanding structure for the remotes, but I think they still should understand that backlighting this is an essential upgrade. Period. Or make a special edition, dumbass, like fucking the theater one, whatever it was, Cinema, BO4 Cinema. Make a BO Remote 1 Cinema edition. Charge another $300, who cares? I'll still buy. I would. Because you can at least, right? I wouldn't have all of them backlit, but I would have at least the one that I watch TV with all the time. That would be the one. Oh. And pray for stable prices. So I'm gonna go with buy more B&O as it always sits.
I'm pretty much purchased out at this point. I may have one purchase left in me for the next year, but it's gonna be, I don't know, like an Eclipse Mark III or something like that.
I'm quite debating and entertaining the idea of selling my BioLab 18s once the walnut covers come out, and buy 2 pairs of Lab 8s.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Because once I get out of here and I'm in Florida, then, the 8s would become surrounds. Maybe I would put 2 on the height, and then, 90s in the front.
That would suffice.
That would be more than good. And, yeah. I need to buy walnut covers for my 90s. Or at least if anybody wants to trade, I have brand new oak and smoked oak panels. Well, smoked oak are obviously what I had, but the oak panels, man, that was the times when the shipping was terrible. So I had, I think, 3 or 4 different boxes that they sent to me to pick out of. So I picked out the nicest wood grains that there was available. Or were available. So yeah, if anybody is entertaining the idea, otherwise I'm just gonna buy another set of them. Fuck it, I'm gonna have 3 for no reason. But man, I think honestly the worst times that I have here is installing 50s, because they just, once you turn them on, it's not that I hate on the speakers or anything, right? It's just that once they turn on, the missing, of my own. My brother's in the container. Fucking dying over here.
Yeah, well,
I miss my 90s more than anything, man. I wish that, this apartment was big enough that I could afford to fit them through the door.
Just sleep.
It's a logistical nightmare.
Them next to you on the bed or something, you'll be fine.
But to bring them in, I couldn't fit the skates through the hallway. It sucks. Well, I could drag them through with on a blanket. Fuck. But I'd have to unbox them in the lobby, which would kind of suck.
Yes.
And yeah, it's just too much effort to do it now. Like, if I would have done it, I should have done it a year ago when I first moved into this unit. But fucking dude, like, the theater is insane over here already.
I mean, if the theater was the same price, we would potentially buy one for the bedroom. But it would be for sure too much for the bedroom. Like, it wouldn't make any goddamn sense to have that much power in a bedroom. That's kind of why I ended up with, like, potentially an Eclipse Mark III, or I don't know, maybe a 1155, something like that.
What if you get that box that converts the stage to a center channel and just attach your 18s to it?
I kind of like it, but it's not cheap. It's, like I said, it's €1,150 ex sales tax, shipping, or anything.
Oh, okay.
Then you still need to buy the panel, so you actually, like, secondhand Mark III Eclipse, you're not actually that far apart anymore.
No.
And you missed, like, the Beo-ness, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, because there's no more Beo remote control of anything, more or less.
Yeah. Well, you may actually through the States. I don't know how that works, but they also don't have a manual, and they still haven't responded to emails. So it's sort of like,
what are we doing?
Thinking of buying this, but if you don't answer anything, like, am I just chancing it at this point?
Pretty much.
Like, am I just buying something from Germany in the hope I could potentially return it if it's shit? Like, that doesn't seem like a great business model for me.
No, and rolling the dice on €1,100 plus shipping. So let's say it would probably end up around $1,500, right?
Yeah.
To have something that maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. If it's as solid as Almondo, then cool. But
well, it is Almondo.
I don't know. Oh, it is Almondo.
Yeah, but it's like, it's new, right? Like, how is their app? How does this work? Does this make the whole stage a center channel, or can I have left-right still?
That's
like
a
it
good
used
question
to be.
Too. Yeah.
Because I have 18s and a sub, right? Like the sub, the sub, whatever. But can I have the option of putting the 18s as surround rear? Or rear, or surround, or whatever? Or must they be up front? Like, I don't know how any of this functions.
Works.
Or do I then just have a center channel and surround, which is kind of like...
What is that?
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. Or is it just stereo? So, no, you can't use an AV receiver, I guess, because it's still ARC, right? How would you couldn't feed.
Well, you can for the 18s, but not for the stage. Again, which is why I come to an Eclipse. Also, because it's less protruding out of the wall.
Oh, yeah.
Than the theater.
Are you going to put it on a motorized wall bracket?
Preferably. Or like static or motorized is fine. I don't think we'll ever have a need for it to move. I guess I can sit outside in my covered sort of porch area and have the TV in the bedroom do that, so I can watch TV outside. Like, open the door and watch TV that way.
Yeah.
I guess I could do that. I haven't really thought of it. Like, I don't sit outside to watch TV, right? Like, it's just not a thing.
It's funny. That was my buddy Etienne. We put his Avant on the motorized wall bracket, right? and it swings outside to like basically it swings out not the wrong way to the room because there's a dining room table or dining table, so it swings out to that, but it also swings out towards where they smoke outside of the on the porch on the front. So when we put it together, it was fucking hilarious because the hockey game was on, right? So everybody goes out for a cigarette and they're like, don't want to miss it. And he's like, oh, hang on. TV comes out. It's like, this fucking paid out good. I'm like, see? And you were saying that you'll never use the motorized wall bracket. And the first thing we do is as soon as we put it on the wall, you throw it in and go full out to see. But yeah, I think motorized wall bracket still is awesome, even for ease of service too. Because if you need to get in behind something or you got something new to plug in, it's easier to just
use the internal apps and maybe an Apple TV or like a Fire Stick. But
yeah.
But also where it would hang on the wall, it is a good 2 meters into the room from outside, right? Like if not more. So I guess I could do that. I'll probably do that if I get a motorized or even manual one. That it flips that way instead of the other way.
Well, that's what's nice about the Eclipse is that they finally realized and figured that since BeoVision 11 that let's make one bracket that you can just flip upside down and make it work for both. Like the BeoVision 10 was a pain in the neck. So was lapses my name V1, but V1 at least you could take apart the bushings and you could swap the bracket to either or side, whichever if the circumstance called for it once you moved somewhere else.
I mean, I'm not opposed to like a Mark II Eclipse, but then I sort of have to find a spare screen before purchasing that, right? Like even if it comes with a panel, like I want a spare screen because I'm not going to trust it lasting more than 3 years.
Exactly.
Which is already a pain because I looked on Amazon and finding a GX or G1 is nigh on impossible now.
In new condition.
Was it G1 still compatible? I think so, right?
I don't remember, man.
Because the G2 became square and then the G3 is square.
Yeah, the Mark III takes on a G2 panel, I think.
Well, the cutout is enormous, so it'll fit just about anything.
Yeah.
Like they finally figured out how to do it with the Mark III and then said, nah, forget about it.
They could have kept the TV, I think. They still could have kept the TV where it was. But I think that, when it comes to the price point of the theater and the combination of and so on and so forth, it just makes no logical sense to have something that, is being dwarfed by something else's performance.
Well, not just that, you have to keep the production lines open and like for the off chance you'll sell a bunch.
That's right.
So it's I'm not sure it warrants it. I mean, if you think the harmony is dead, it was probably really killed the Eclipse with the theater, right?
Oh, they really did. They really killed the theater. I mean, the Eclipse with the theater, because we got thankfully rid of our Eclipse because it was going to die in the shop no matter what. And I think it's dying in the warehouse anyways because I don't think we've sold it. I don't remember putting it up anywhere. But we have
two Mark 55. Like I had a deal on a Mark III 65-inch, but it doesn't fucking fit because there's a closet door and a bathroom door, and it like pokes out into the door holes on both sides.
Oh shit! The 65.
Yeah, and I nearly said yes to it because it was a good price, and then I was like, damn it, it actually doesn't fucking fit. By like it like pokes in an inch on either door, and I'm not gonna like go into my bathroom every time like this or my closet.
Yeah, I know you're gonna end up knocking it at some point and denting it wherever. But I don't know. To me, that TV never really struck me as sexy when I first got it. Like I was blown away by the picture, but again, like the amount of bugginess in it at the time was sufficient enough for me to just listen, man, this is cool, but it still doesn't work with it didn't work in the beginning with the BeoLiving Intelligence or the BeoLink Gateway. That didn't even support the gateway anymore, so I was hooped for that. And Yeah, I went full circle back to Avant till I moved to Montreal. Now it's
well, if
I
Kareem still
can't have
has
a gateway here, so it sucks.
55-inch Mark III in storage, let me know.
I'll find out, man. If you're that interested, I know that we have a 65, which is now out of picture. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
But I'll see what we've got if we can make something happen.
I mean, and I thought of a floor stand because I really liked the floor stand, but it's too low. For some reason, American beds are super high.
Yeah.
Like the top of my bed is almost as high as my computer desk is, right?
I know. Like when I first moved to Canada, it was weird because I lay in the bed and I'm like, I'm level with the window, bro.
Yes.
Like what the fuck, man? Like you shouldn't be like just turn sideways and you see your neighbors doing things. Like that was a cultural shock for me as well. But
yeah, I would say like this window, right? My bed is around like yay high.
Yeah,
like, I'm higher than the bottom of the window.
Yeah, I could never get it from it. Like, well, we got away from it once we moved to a house, like when I was living with my parents. But when I moved to the apartment in the last apartment that I lived in, the windows were too low now too, right? Because they like now it's like a foot off the ground. So oh shit, still no matter how high you are, you're still looking out. But at least it was a good view.
The one thing I really didn't understand is that my part of my in-law family has like these enormous beds, right? Like, and they're beautiful beds, but they're so big you actually get like a little step stool with it to get in.
Yeah. So I don't get it, man. It's because you have the underlay for the mattress, which is just as thick as the mattress, and mattress is what, at least a foot.
Yeah, it's like 16 to 18 inches.
Yeah, like, so it's just ridiculous. Yeah, man, it's ridiculous.
I mean, they last for like 25, 30 years for a mattress, right? Which is
good.
Yeah, but it's like I coming from Europe, I don't understand this. It's so strange.
Yeah, it's different world up here. So
anyway, at the 2-hour mark. Wait, do you still think it comes up with a Harmony Mark II or Descendant? I hope so.
I would hope so, but my hopes are very low. I don't think that they are going to address the Harmony in any way, shape, or form.
It would make much more sense than the Mark II 90s or 50s.
Yes.
Even if it's just a decoding bit and no upfiring anything.
Yeah. But I don't know. I'm very curious to what will 2024 bring.
You know what, B&O? Add just the Dolby Atmos True Image decoder to the Harmony and keep all the DTS support. Then you have a real B&O flagship.
Mm-hmm.
Because our theaters don't do DTS at all.
No.
So if you want to make the flagship, like it'll lose out on the speakers, fine, whatever, but it'll have all the decoders. And you want the flagship, buy some 50s, 90s, 28s, whatever with it.
Yeah.
That's what I would suggest.
That's Mikey's final thought.
Yeah. Last thought of the year. Anyway, I wish you all a very happy new year. Hope you have a safe 2024 and
buy lots of B&O.
That too, and don't drink too much and
drink whatever you want, just don't drive the fuck over anywhere. That's the important part. 23%
of you be amazing. 23% of you buy more B&O. 23% of you buy or watch more BeoTalk and Dream. And the other 30%, we pray with you that the prices remain stable and we'll save up for shit.
Those prayers won't go for long, I tell you what.
Well, maybe at some point they'll hear us.
Yeah.
I thought you wanted customers.
They do, but we're not the target practice anymore. That's right. So,
thanks for watching. Thank you for 2023.
We'll be back in 2024.
Yeah, in 2024, I won't move over an ocean again, so it'll be a better schedule.
Hopefully, I'll switch the countries at that point. That would be awesome.
You'll move across the continent,
and we can finally meet in person.
Yeah,
that would be cool. Hand you over those BeoLab ones. I've been looking at my storage and walking around for fucking now a year and something.
This is why I need
they're in the way,
so I can have ones up front, 18s in the rear, like I used to. Have a full surround sound for the bedroom.
And those ones are silver, so it would match the Eclipse.
Sweet.
There you go. Anyways, Happy New Year, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Don't puke on your shoes.